Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome back to Peace and Plenty in 20. I am your host, Janine, transformational coach, midlife mentor, and today we're going to be talking about the invisible jobs that no one's paying you for, but it's burning you out. I want you to think about, do you ever get to the end of your day and you are completely exhausted and drained, like you can't do another thing? But if you were to put down on paper the things that you did, it doesn't seem like a lot, but you're completely exhausted. Or like my girls like to point out, if I am sprawled out on the couch at the end of the day, Mom, why are you so tired? Which, P.S., is a question that can send us into a rage, and we're going to discover why in a little bit. So what I wanted to do today in this episode is to put a name to all those invisible jobs that are burning you out. You know, the ones that everyone assumes you'll handle, but no one acknowledges or pays you for. I want to name those for you because I think it's important that we recognize the energy that is going into both the visible and invisible aspects of our days. So for example, I would like you to think for a minute about what are the tasks that you have? What's the work that you have to do outside of your career or your job or your regular day? So for me, when I did this list, I have meal planning, then the shopping, grocery shopping for the meals, the meal prep, the cooking, and the cleaning up. So that list right there in and of itself, that's the visible, right? That's what our partners see us doing, our children see us doing. That's what is visible to everyone. Laundry is another one. I personally made a decision a few years ago to find a way to handle that one. I'll get to that in a little bit. How about taking care of everyone's medical and doctor's appointments? And at this stage in our life, it's not only our children, but also quite possibly our parents. Then we are also the relationship manager, whether it's between you and your partner, between you and your children, between siblings, so navigating those relationships between siblings, extended family members. We are kind of in charge of doing all of that. And speaking of being in charge of things, we're also in charge of the calendar for the most part, right? Scheduling everyone and everything so that it lines up. We're also the school managers, who's got what due, what college applications still have to be done, anything that involves our kids' schooling or talking with teachers or guidance counselors. So we have that on our plate, right? The list goes on. Birthdays, vacations, carpooling schedules. All of these things are the visible additional tasks that we have. Now, after you make that list for yourself, first of all, thinking about that list, that consumes a lot of hours every day and every week. But if we now list out the invisible workload that goes along with those things, the amount of hours multiplies. So, for example, I'm going to go back. I wrote my list down so I could share it with you guys because my brain cannot remember every single thing. So I wrote this down, and I want you to do the same for yourself. So I chose the meal planning, prep, cooking, grocery shop, because that's I could separate those out, but I just kind of lumped those all together. So the invisible parts behind all that is, number one, keeping track, inventory of what we have. What do we have in the pantry? What do we have in the fridge, right? Do we have an onion? Do I have pasta? Do I have whatever it is? So I'm in charge of that. Then I also have to be in charge of knowing everybody's particular preferences that week or that month, because if you have children like me, they could love something for a month and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I don't like that anymore. And then you also might have different dietary restrictions. So, for example, I have a non-meat eater, or beef, I should say. Um, and then there's preferences. Not everybody likes the same vegetable. So, trying to meal plan and prep for that, that's a whole invisible workload behind that. What else did I write down here? Oh, trying to budget the groceries and also trying to get the best quality products, right? I try to buy organic when I can. I want to be in season, just that alone. So what's in season, right? And balancing that with the budget. Trying to like mix it up a bit, although lately I've been sticking with the things that work. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then the actual cooking, trying to time everything to be ready at the same time, trying to time the meals based on everybody's schedule, who's coming and going. Those invisible mental exercises are what leave me feeling exhausted at the end of the day. And that's just the meals, right? So in a day, aside from the meals, I get the emails from school, whether it's from my girls or from the teachers, the doctor's appointments, the family, appointments even that Dave and I have, and coordinating when can you have this meeting. Let me email them back. Now let me wait for them to give me an answer. This is all day long on top of doing my regular job. So it is no wonder that we get to the end of the day and can feel completely drained and exhausted. So I do not like feeling like that. So what do I do when I feel stuck? Or what do I do when I feel, you know what, this is not working for me? I need to take some sort of action, right? So I decided that I wanted to not just manage the invisible work better, but I wanted some sort of system to reduce it. If you know me as a coach, I am all about implementing systems and routines, because those are the things that we can make automatic and habitual that will alleviate a lot of that mental drain and energy load. So, I forgot to mention, I wanted to say, I just did a little tiny bit of research. Research shows that women spend approximately 37 hours weekly on invisible labor. And I would say that that is absolutely accurate. Because remember, the visible work takes up our hours. It does. But the invisible takes up our hours and our energy. So this is where those slow leaks are. I often say to clients, I just said it yesterday, it's almost like you have like a pinhole in your tire, and it's just very slowly, like you don't even know it's there. You can't see it. And then when the tire's flat, you're like, why is it flat? Because you have this slow leak going on. Okay, so what's the solution? I decided I need to come up with a system for my clients and for me. So the system I developed is called the R.E.A.L framework. It is simple, but it's powerful, and I want to share it with you today in case this is something that resonates with you. Need a sip of coffee. Okay, so it's an acronym, R.E.A.L. And actually, before I share it with you, let me quickly tell you why this works, because I always think it's important. You know me, I love research, I love education, so I want you to know the why behind. So the reason this system works is because it addresses the root causes, right? Not just the symptoms. It's simple. It is giving you permission rather than adding pressure. Like, it's a system that's actually designed to relieve you of something, not give you more to do. And it's very incremental. It builds on itself naturally. Like, each step enables the next. Okay? Here's the system. R, number one, recognize what's happening. So just think of recognize. I want you to pay attention to what's actually going on. So simply notice, like I just did for you. what are the invisible things? What's the invisible load that you're carrying? Okay, so recognize that. The E for real, step 2, is to evaluate. Ask yourself the tough questions. Is this necessary? The mental load part of it, the invisible part of it, is it necessary? And often the answer is going to be yes. But if it's not, we can immediately start to think about elimination. But if the answer is yes, the kind of the follow-up thought to that is, do I have to be the one to carry this load, right? Must I be the one? All right, so R.E.A., after you have recognized it and evaluated it, adjust it. Step 3, adjust it. Lower the bar. Good enough is enough, ladies. And I know that is difficult for a lot of us perfectionists and high achievers, but I'm telling you, the payoff of relieving yourself of these high expectations is going to far outweigh you doing things perfectly. We got to simplify, okay? So adjust, simplify, let go, which is actually step 4. Let go. What can you let go of? What can you either delegate? What can you eliminate? This is the key. I tell my clients and myself this, I have to repeat this. Listen carefully. We need to stop trying to do it all better. We need to start doing less better. Here's your action step for this week. I want you to try this system. You're going to think of it as a visibility audit. Okay, you're going to audit your tasks, what you're doing during the day. And to keep it simple and just start, I want you to just pick one category. So after you make a list, like I did, of meals, laundry, carpool, house cleaning, medical appointments, managing relationships, planning of events and parties and vacations, organizing the house and keeping it that way. After you make that list, I want you to look at what's the one category that drains you the most. And then once you choose that this week, take like 2 to 3 days. You don't need to do it all week long, so kind of pick when you're going to do this week, and jot down every invisible task in that category as it happens. So you know I'm a big fan of notes in your phone. If you are more of a pen and paper person, just keep a little notepad in your bag. You could use Post-its. I love these size Post-its. And just for 2 or 3 days, just list. That's all you're doing, is just jotting down, oh wow, this is an additional level of what I have to do for the actual task, okay? And then after those 2 to 3 days, I want you to go back and look at all those invisible tasks, right? Or those invisible mental drains, I'm going to call it. And then you get to make some decisions. What can you lower your standards for? Like, what could you simplify? What could you totally get rid of? And what could you outsource or delegate? Okay? And then, even if you just pick one from that invisible load, let's just start there. But with this system, you can systematically start to try to reduce some of this invisible workload that's burning us out and leaving us ready to snap when the kids say, Mom, why are you so tired? What did you do all day? Not that they really say it that way, but I'm trying to paint a picture for you of the state that we get ourselves into. And one of the reasons that I love this system so much is that it encompasses all of my pillars in my coaching program. If you haven't heard me talk about it before, the pillars in my coaching program are priorities, permission, productivity, perimeters, and power. That's why I love this system, because it's making us get clear on our priorities. It's giving you permission to let go of stuff and not do it perfectly. It's it's totally driving our productivity so that we can still get things done that need to get done, but in a better way. Perimeters is all about boundaries, so we're setting boundaries to protect our energy. And power. This is putting the power back in your hands, that while, yes, you may have these things that you're responsible for, guess what? You can make decisions about how they get done, when they get done. And that is what I am here for, ladies, is to empower you to take back control of the things that sometimes feel out of control, and then we become potentially resentful or fall into that victim mentality of, well, I just have to do everything. I'm not here for that. I'm here for, let's step into, like I said to you earlier, if something's not working for me, I'm at the stage of my life where I'm going to figure it out. And this is a system that can help you figure this out if it's something you're struggling with. So I want to just jump back for a second to, what are some ways, like, sure, that sounds great, Janine, you just gave me that system, but what are some ways that, you can simplify, like being realistic? And by the way, it starts with mindset. I want you to be sure that you have the mindset of simplifying does not mean failure. Simplifying is actually empowering you to take back your time and your presence with your children and your energy, or your spouse, or having time. Remember, if you saw episode, I think it was 3 or 4 with Melissa, we talked about hobbies. There ain't no way you're going to have time to explore any hobbies unless we preserve our energy and figure out what invisible tasks we can start to eliminate or delegate. So I just want you to have that mindset in your head of, doing less doesn't mean failure. It actually means a way to supercharge your productivity, your presence, your priorities, all the things I just talked about, all my pillars. Okay. So let's talk about the meal, like for me, for the meal planning. How do I simplify that? Well, I decided, why do I have to keep track of what's in the pantry? You guys are in there every day, and you're in the fridge every day. So here's a Post-it in the kitchen, and these are actually super sticky Post-its, so they stay on the wall. Here's a Post-it, or if you have a whiteboard, or you have write down what we're out of. Write down what's missing. And guess what? Like 2 nights ago, when someone yelled down to me, where's the butter? Where are the sticks of butter? I don't know, check the freezer. Nope, nothing in here. Okay, well, write it down. Nobody had written it down, and they were making mac and cheese. And in the past, I would have gotten worked up, felt bad. I did feel a little bad. They were about to make it, but I was like, okay, sorry, I guess you can't make it. Or do we have whipped butter? Yep, we have whipped butter. All right, make it with that. That's one of the, in the R.E.A.L system, that's an L. That's a let go. I'm going to let go of that. I'm not the only one eating from this fridge and this pantry. So you guys need to let me know what we're out of. And so guess what? Butter went on the list. And now I knew yesterday I got a whole bunch of sticks of butter so that we're stocked. So that's just one example. What else have I done? I used to meal plan 5 days a week. Then it got to the point where I was like, wow, some days I'm making these meals and no one's eating them. So that actually was good motivation for me to say, you know what, I'm going to simplify this. I'm going to plan 3 meals, because then what tends to happen is we have it as leftovers. Somebody gets sick, somebody's schedule gets messed up, and we wind up ordering Chipotle one night. So I only plan for 3 nights. I simplified, right? I also delegate, like I just said the other night. It was a long, busy day for me, and I said, you know what? You guys can make mac and cheese. Simplify. And also letting go, because was that a balanced, like that's another thing. I am like, well, you need to have protein, you need to have vegetable. Not every night. Good is good enough. the world's not going to end. I'm not destroying their whole nutritional, their outlook on nutrition, or knowing, what a well-rounded, balanced, healthy meal is because they had mac and cheese one night, or because we have Chipotle one night. These are the things that will allow you, letting go of these things. And I'm not saying let go totally, like I'm saying there's a balance, but letting those things go will actually allow you to reclaim so much more of your mental energy. And then, believe it or not, sometimes I'll become more energized and empowered to be like, you know what? I was going to have the girls order Chipotle today, on my way home, but since I have so much energy, I'm going to stop at Whole Foods. I'm going to pick up some fish, some shrimp, and some vegetables, and I've had the energy to actually throw it together. So you wind up actually surprising yourself. This has been my experience anyway. When we kind of release some of that pressure, right? When we kind of lighten up on ourselves, it's actually amazing how much more abundant our energy becomes. My word of the year, by the way, just a side note, is surrender. And I think I'm really passionate about this topic today because I have been noticing in so many different areas that when I surrender, I'm actually getting so much more than if I was trying to have that tight grip on everything. That's just a little side note. And the other part of letting go is also, if we're going to delegate and we're going to say, make this list, or after dinner, you guys load the dishwasher, you're going to have to let go that the dishwasher might not be loaded the way you load it, right? You're going to have to let go of everything being done perfectly if this is something you want for yourself, if you want to really preserve your energy and find a way to not be so exhausted and to be able to be more present and at peace. These are the things we need to think about. So this week, I want you to decide which task feels like the most for you that you have, and keep track of the invisible tasks behind the visible. Share with me, let me know. And if today's episode resonates with you, be sure to schedule your free strategy session with me. So I have room in my schedule for time to meet with you and discover where are the areas you feel stuck. What are the things you would like to systemize or be doing better? How do you want to feel that you're not feeling right now? And what are the actions we can take to get you there? That's what this strategy session is about. I can help you take a look at that. So click the link to do that. And remember, you get to decide. You're always at choice. You're always in charge. We're not in charge of all this, of the scenarios and the environment and the things that happen to us, but you are always at choice. You're always in charge. And you can decide at any moment that you would like to do things differently. So, thank you for joining me. I can't wait to be back next week with another 20-minute episode from Peace and Plenty. Until then, I want you to go out and live this one beautiful life we have with peace, with plenty, and I'll see you guys next week.